Sessions. I am your host today, Sharon Evan, and today I have with me Yoni Mazur from Gatina and Nir Raveh from MarketWise. Thank you both for being here. And we will just say that Nir and I are currently in Israel, and if there will be a siren, we will have to quickly hop out and come back, and Yoni will take over. Yoni, thank you so much. This is your first time on Seller Sessions. I'm so excited to have you here. I've been wanting to have you here for ages. So can you please introduce yourself quickly to everyone who doesn't know you, and Gatina, obviously.
You got it. Thank you so much, Sharon. So glad to be here. Hi, Nir. Great to see you again. So hi, everybody. My name is Yoni Mazur. I'm the co-founder and CGO, the Chief Growth Officer of Gatina. Very quickly, Gatina, we're a technology company. And what we're famous for, I guess, is helping Amazon sellers safely maximize all the reimbursement that they're eligible to receive. So typically what happens is that once you connect to Gatina, we're able to go back 18 months with all the data, all the transactions under your account. So our technology will find the discrepancies, and then we have a dedicated team of specialists that will handle all the back and forth with Amazon on your behalf. A big part of our team are ex-Amazon employees who used to work in those departments, the FBA reimbursements departments. So we know how to manage the back and forth very safely and stay terms of service compliant. In addition to all that, we're an authorized solution provider on the platform. So if you go visit Amazon Seller Central and they have an app store, you put our name there, we're over there. So it means we have a double commitment to you, the sellers, right, to make sure everything's done safely and securely and to the highest performance, but of course also to Amazon. So essentially it makes us like Amazon sellers, and we all know what it's like to stay with Amazon standards. It's very demanding, and that's what we're committed to. So in a nutshell, sellers they experience a lot of discrepancies, a lot of different types. Today we're going to touch a certain type that is popping out, and it's pretty interesting to see the elements that are going around it. We'll touch it very soon, but just to keep in mind, there's many more other things that can happen to your inventory. Quickly, in a nutshell, it all starts from the beginning, which we're going to touch today. When you ship 1,000 units to Amazon, for example, you ship your product, your inventory to the fulfillment center. That's when everything starts, the whole story. So let's say you shipped 1,000 units and Amazon received only 990 units. So 10 units are missing. You got to reconcile that. Overwhelming majority of sellers do it themselves, which is okay. We don't have to even do it for you guys anyways, right? But then once your inventory is inside Amazon's fulfillment center, that's when inside the center, your inventory can get lost, damaged, destroyed, disappear, dispose, or get overcharged with all these strange fees. That's when we can really come in with all the data being very granular and finding all these discrepancies. Now also, once it's in the warehouse, it can be shifted to other warehouses. So sometimes Amazon will shift your products from Kentucky to California to Nevada. Things happen there, we find it. From Amazon's fulfillment center to the consumers, to the customers, when the orders come in, we find all these issues there as well. From the consumers back to Amazon, unfondly known as refunds, returns, we can help there as well. And also, if you ever remove your products from Amazon, what's it called? FBA removal orders, we can help you as there. So all these logistical friction points with the fulfillment center, that's when we come in and help you align it. That's pretty much our mission, our purpose, and how we help out.
And Yoni, you are also an ex-Amazon seller from memory, right?
That's correct. So Gatina was actually born from our experience as Amazon sellers. When I say we, I mean myself and my co-founder, Max Boren. So quick story. About 11 years ago, we started selling online. It was mainly on eBay back in the days, the good old days of early e-commerce. And then about the year 2013, we started selling on Amazon. And very quickly, the business grew from 0 to 20 million in annual sales, especially with FBA. Then we became a part of a larger group that together as a group, it did about 100 million in annual FBA sales. And Gatina was born from that need to basically audit all these transactions that are happening, because once we hit a massive amount of scale, spreadsheets were not good enough. So it pushed us to do two things. The first thing was to create a dedicated technology so it can audit all the amount of transactions coming in, first component. The second component is actually create a dedicated team, right? So it manages the claims, because finding the problem is just the beginning. Then you got to actually manage it. Some cases are simple. It might get resolved in a few hours, but other cases can take a few days, a few weeks, a few months, and also in rare cases, more than a year. So the combination of technology and a dedicated team created the solution for us, right? So we did it for ourselves. It worked really well. Then we told our friends from the industry that we have these capabilities, and they told us, help us, we'll pay you. And that was the early genesis of Gatina back in 2015. Then over the years, it was just going organically from one seller to another. until we had like two successful vessels, two successful companies, right? We got retail, we got technology and solutions with Gatina. So over the years, we felt like, with retail, we really peaked. We really hit a nice level of operations. And if we ever wanted to go back to it, we can probably go back to it. Nobody can take away what we know how to do. It's almost like our diploma, like an insurance policy. But we felt with that, with technology and solutions for the sellers, we can probably help so many others. And if we put our full focus just in this organization, it's probably going to blow up. It's probably going to really grow and mature. And that's what happened. So we cashed out of our retail positions. And then we focused just on Gatina. And in the past 2-3 years, we took leadership in this space. So today I can really say that we're the largest organization in the world dedicated to this niche. This niche is called Amazon FBA auditing and reimbursements, and we operate on a global level. So if you sell in the US, in Canada, Mexico, UK, Germany, we got you covered. So that's in a nutshell kind of where the Gatina was born and from the retail activity.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. And Nir, for anyone who doesn't know you, can you very briefly give us a quick intro? And then I'd like for us to get into the main subject of today.
I'll do it as quickly as possible. So my name is Nir Raveh. I'm the CEO of a company called MarketWise. We deal with two different subjects. One is A to Z services, but today we're speaking more about the part that deals with appeals, and that was really fast. So
it was very fast, but you are also an Amazon seller. We are.
Yeah, I am.
We're all sellers here, or ex-sellers, and I think that is something that is it's always important, I think, to mention, because the minute that you also have been or are a seller yourself, you just look at things a bit different rather than service providers that have never sold or spent money on. You
know what? It's a good point. People ask me, why do you do that? Why do you continue to do that? So first, I love it. And the second thing, I think that you need to have something, at least something that you're doing, you walk the walk. And so you understand the pain, like Yoni has just said, you understand the problems, and you understand the solution. And on Amazon, everything is changing, and we're about to talk about it. But everything is changing constantly. If you have foot on the ground, then you understand it.
Thank you for that. So I currently, for the people who are listening to us on the podcast and cannot see my screen, I'll read out. I'm sharing my screen right now. Nir shared this a couple of days ago, and it says this: Dear Amazon seller, your Amazon seller account has been deactivated in accordance with Section 3 of Amazon's Business Solutions Agreements. Your listings have been removed. Funds will not be transferred to you, but will stay in your account while we work with you to address the issue. Please ship any open orders to buyers to avoid further impact. Why did this happen? We have taken this measure because this account has repeatedly submitted improper claims for FBA reimbursement. Amazon's policy regarding FBA reimbursements and seller code of conduct can be found at, and then they have a whole bunch of resources, and then they have all sorts of documentations that they are asking for in order to try and solve this solution. So this issue, not solution, this issue. So this is something that I would consider to be pretty new. I haven't heard of this issue in the past. I can say that for myself, Amazon has many times lost stock, and even twice in a row lost the entire stock that I have sent into Amazon last year. Once Gatina helped me to get my reimbursement, and once I got my own reimbursement on my own, and I was entitled to that reimbursement. So I can't imagine Amazon losing my inventory and then me opening up a claim and then coming back and saying, oh, we've taken down your listings, we've closed your account, and please send us all this stuff because, we think that you're lying, when in reality, So I think that this is a huge issue, and this is why I wanted us to talk about it today. So we'll first of all go to you, Nir, because you brought this to light anyway to me. Can you share with us what you know about this specific subject? And then I'd like Yoni to come in after that from his point of view as well.
So first thing first, we can do it as a discussion. It will be easier for all of us. So I was surprised. And this is why I showed you and a few of my friends, because Yoni as well, by the way, because it was very surprising. Nobody understood that. what happened? Is it just the inventory we're sending to Amazon, or maybe also all the, when people are canceling or I think asking for refunds or just shipping the good back for any reason? Is it within this claim or whatever we will call it? So after our first checking of it, we guess, we are not sure 100%, but let's say 90%. This document is talking about the inventory you are sending to the warehouse. It's not about all the products are being returned to FBA warehouses. So this is very relaxing, I think, for all of us. Still,
hold on.
there is
Wait a minute. Just to ask, when you say very relaxing, as a seller, let's just say I sent in, for the sake of the example, let's say I sent in 3,000 units. Okay. Amazon then claims that they received how many, for the sake of the example? Yoni,
2,990. 10 units are missing.
Okay, 10 units are missing. In my case, it was 3,000 missing. But anyway, I sent in 3,000. They didn't. But anyway, they let's just say 10 units are missing, right? I have to wait. I think it was like 60 days until or 30 days until I could reconcile. I opened up a case, right? And then you're saying that then they will then come and ask. They may have sent me this email, and then I have to send them what? What proof do I have apart from an invoice? Right? What proof do I have that I actually sent in 3,000 units? If I sent this from China to Amazon and I didn't have a 100% inspection, what proof do I have?
You're going to love this. You just mentioned inspection. So you need to have inspection. I know that you're a huge fan of that. So you need to have,
but I don't believe in 100% inspections though, because I think that it's a waste of time.
I know, but they're asking for all the documents to justify the claim over the last year, by the way. And they're asking to provide the supply chain documentation, the invoices.
I'll share it.
The supplier information and all the import and export documents, which is still mind-blowing. But if you have, I think I don't know how should I think this is part of a bigger thing that's going on with Amazon, and we see it in maybe we'll touch it from different angle, but I think that Amazon are now I don't know how to
word it.
You can say it in Hebrew. We can translate if you need.
No, it's not a problem. No, it's not a problem. I'm trying to be as polite as possible because I don't.
You don't need to be polite.
I don't want to
say it as it is. No worries.
Yeah.
So I think this specific document, is about a shipment that came from China, and I'm not going to say anything about Chinese or anything about. It's not about that. Okay, so this is what I was trying to avoid. So we see few moves that Amazon are doing in the last week or 2 weeks.
Oh, so you're saying that you think that maybe Amazon is saying that the Chinese supplier, never mind who, the supplier sent in, let's just say the supplier sent in 2,950 units, for example. When I claim that there's 3,000 units and Amazon is saying, no, we received 2,950 units because a supplier sent in 50 units less. That's what you're saying on purpose because they know Amazon will reimburse the seller.
So this is one option, but the other option is trying to manipulate the system. I know it's maybe you're just sending like instead of 2,000, you're sending just 100 units, and they're saying, Amazon, you've lost everything, but you still need to pay me. So this is another option of kind of manipulating the system, and this is what I was referring, because now they are just very strongly fighting all kind of manipulation. So this is a different angle. We don't know yet. Nobody knows. It's just an estimation. We're not blaming anyone. So we're just, checking every angle of this thing.
And Yoni, what can you say from what you've seen with your thousands of clients in Gatina regarding this specific issue?
Yeah, so thankfully we haven't had an issue, but because we're such a large body, other sellers who haven't been client yet, but now they are actually, they come to us and present this to us because they got stuck with this. So first things first, just for everybody to calm everybody down. If you're an honest seller that's trying to, and you're not trying to manipulate anybody, you should be fine. Okay. If you are trying to manipulate anybody, the party's over. I'm gonna put this right up front.
I agree.
So don't mess around with Amazon. Same thing with reviews. They crack down on reviews. Party's over. That's Amazon. You know, it's a very strong body that, you know, anytime they recognize kind of a crack and hole, they'll patch it up. But along the way, they know that they're gonna take some good weeds out. But if you're a good weed, you should be able to be planted back into the system. So that's pretty much what we see. So it really didn't happen to our clients, but some that people that got stuck with it, they came to us. We said, first things first, evidence. You got to have all the evidence intact. If you trust your supplier and they're very transparent and you can prove all the chain of command, where you bought it, you pay for it, when they shipped it out of China, it really, let's say, because Amazon works a lot with weight. So your cargo is supposed to weigh 3,000 pounds. Amazon received 3,000 pounds. They haven't received 2,000 pounds. It's very much weight based. So if you see that's clearly, okay, your container, they shipped out a container, they say it's 3,000, Amazon received 2,000, somebody's faking it. It might be you, the seller. You tell you buy 2,000 pounds worth of inventory, but you tell your supplier in overseas or wherever it is, just say it's 3,000. Okay, so you're manipulating. It's like almost customs. You know, sometimes a custom, you want to buy something expensive, it's worth $10,000. You tell whoever's selling it to you, I just write the value is $100, so I'll pay only taxes, import taxes. So these things can be also borderline illegal, but I'm not insinuating. I'm just letting people know to understand that don't try to cheat or don't try to lie. The shortest way is the honest way. So Amazon is giving a signal to the fundamentals. So it can be obviously something that you try to manipulate, or maybe you're being manipulated. And if you are, this is your wake up call. So if your supplier is saying, yeah, sure, you bought 3,000 pounds worth of inventory, and in fact they're only shipping 2,000 pounds, and they're relying and they were doing it, and again and again, it worked out because Amazon always compensated or reimbursed for that, and they got away with it, then they continue doing it. Now look at this message Amazon is giving, because Amazon usually very seller performance is very enigmatic, right? So you got to decipher what's bothering Amazon. So Amazon's not bothered by sellers reconciling, right, the shipments. Not a problem at all. The problem is, as what they're signaling is that if you're trying to cheat and violate the code of conduct says that you can't expect us to pay you for something that you're responsible for, and you know that you're responsible for, or somebody in your organization or in your supply chain is responsible for. You can't come and demand it from us. So here, the keyword that I'm feeling here is the repeatedly submitted. It wasn't once, it wasn't twice, repeated. There's some sort of and then they tell you, let's go back to the whole year. So throughout the year, you know, you order 3,000 pounds worth of inventory, you only got 2,000 pounds again and again and again. That is when you're gonna get trapped in this little loophole. So 99.9, yeah.
These documents, since we're dealing with this case, so this one has had just two claims of refunding.
Yeah, so that's a repeat.
Reimbursement. So that's not a lot. That's not a lot.
Yeah, repeat meaning the first time it shouldn't be an issue.
Once.
Yeah, the repeat.
It's more than once.
Yeah. The keyword is repeat. So that triggered the algorithm, right? So a few combinations here. So obviously they're not happy with somebody trying to kind of cheat them or trying to make them pay for something that's not on their responsibility, and they created an algorithm for it. So it's flagging. So you have a seller account, the transactions the past 365 days. They're trying to create some sort of AI, artificial intelligence, in an algorithm to spot out the ones that are caught in this little trap. So the ways to avoid it is, first of all, wake up call. Make sure you really know your suppliers. You can really trust them. They can show and prove everything. And then if it's really missing and you unfortunately got trapped in this, hopefully you won't. You probably won't. But if you are, you show it to them and they reinstate you, right? That, once again, the honest way is the shortest way to solve any issues, even if you got mistakenly, right? Amazon can make a mistake. We all know that Amazon makes mistakes, and sometimes you are guilty until proven innocent. It's like the whole thing is in reverse. Unfortunately, sometimes, that is the case.
Most of the time, you're guilty until proven innocent with Amazon.
You're such a nice guy. It's not that easy.
Yeah, that's what's happening.
I can't hear you guys. There you go. Sorry, I can hear you guys now.
No worries. So that's what's happening. So once again, the mentality of you're guilty until you're proven innocent. So be innocent. make sure all your ducks are in a row. If you're not innocent or somebody in your organization is not innocent, this is your opportunity to catch them or align it. Honest mistakes, no more. Now everything is transparent. This is once again Amazon's amazing ability to get a higher performance level out of everybody. So meaning they're gonna lift your game. They say, oh, this was a little bit of a hobby for you or a side gig. No, this is corporate stuff. If you send anything to me and you expect me to pay you, right, for something that you think that I lost, prove it. If you're always able to prove it, you never have a problem. Even if you get caught in their trap and you had a problem, but you should be able to solve it. If you can't, you keep on relying on your suppliers or relying on God, making a spiritual thing, it's not going to work out. So be professional, reach out to your suppliers, the whole chain of command and custody, make sure you have the ability to align it. Guess what? You know what's going to happen? Honestly, you're probably going to have less and less, what's it called, discrepancies. All of a sudden, your shipments are 100% or 99.9%. You're never going to have that issue. But, of course, if Amazon completely lost a shipment, meaning you shipped the whole cargo and it never arrived to Amazon Fulfillment Center, okay, and you use their carriers, they're going to believe that because their carrier says, yeah, it was in Kentucky. It was supposed to go to California. Lost. That should be fine. It's not an issue because it's not your data. It's their carrier's data and they can trust it. So the whole issue starts with the fact that you're giving data to Amazon and they're not comfortable with that data. So make sure they are.
Nir, can you share with us what the discrepancy was with this specific case? So was it specifically, for example, over 10 units? Was it 50 units? Do you know?
Yeah. So yeah, I did started the investigation. So one of the shipment that was about a year ago, they lost something like 500. It was a box of 500 units from I think something like 3,000.
That's dramatic. That's dramatic.
Yeah, that's dramatic. And I think that was the trigger. And the second one was something like 5 or maybe 10 something units from completely different product. But the interesting thing is the first one is not active anymore. So they just stopped working on this product, and still it was live in Amazon systems. So
yeah, they haven't deleted the product. They stopped selling it, but they haven't deleted it.
No. They did. They did delete the product and they did delete everything, but they still have an ASIN.
And ASIN, yeah, the ASIN is still in their database.
Yeah. I did delete the ASIN from this documents, but they originally wrote something like ASIN is under review. So they are also showing you the ASINs that you are that had the problem.
So what I'm hearing you guys say, which is a bit dramatic in my eyes as a seller, is 100% inspection. What else? What other proof can we have apart from 100% inspection? Now, I have to say, as someone who's pretty spot on with inspections, 100% inspection is not needed. You in order to understand the percentage of how many defects you're going to have, and having 100% inspection, especially if you've got really high volume, can delay your.
Sharon, when you say inspection, this is quality assurance of the quality of the product, or you're saying inspection on making sure that if you order 10,000 units, it's actually packaged and 10,000 units.
I'm talking about
everything.
Pre-shipment inspection. How else are they supposed to do a pre-shipment inspection?
Sharon, you have the documents. You can always ask them. We can,
what you're saying is you then have to have 100% inspection every single unit.
No. I don't think so.
How else can you prove to Amazon?
The weight, it all works on weight. Usually when it's containers, stuff like that. So as long as the supplier or manufacturer can actually have it documented with reliable players, if it's DHL, whoever it is that they're using, and then their certificate is legit, and they can also maybe even show images of how it looks on the scale. As much as think about you going to court. So when you go to court, have as much reliable proof as possible.
So what you're saying is when we enter into our shipping plan, because the only way for them to know the 100% the weight is when you're sending in your shipping plan, then your dimensions and your weight has to be 100% perfect.
Yes.
With what then the freight forwarder picks up.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Because how else can we then prove it?
Yeah, it works. It's heavily centered on weight, by the way, just so you know.
So the dimensions today that we put into our shipping plan and the weight needs to be like spot on.
Yeah, you can't
No.
guesstimate it. If it's supposed to be 3,000, and you're saying, I think it's maybe 4,000, you're gonna have an issue. You can't do like a hobby or anything like that. You should probably not do it because you're gonna pay more for your freight, right? It's because the more you say that you have and weight, the more you're gonna pay. So accuracy is the key here.
Yoni,
Nir, what did you want to say?
I think we need to divide it into small, let's call it pallets or small boxes or even trucks. So if you're, let's say, if you're using one of the big like FedEx or DHL or whatever, they are weighting everything twice, and
Yes.
usually they have like a photo of the boxes. Not usually, always. So
Yep.
this is one way of dealing with it. So you do have an evidence. You don't need to pay for that. This is their process. I'm not sure about.
Yeah, well, Nir,
We can ask.
you're mentioning carriers that Amazon trusts, so usually you'll never find an issue there. But if you're using somebody really, really cheap, right, and
No,
Amazon doesn't know them, that might also, during basically the appeal or whatever, they don't really know them or rely on them, they might have hesitation on basically accepting your appeal, no?
but still, if you're exporting, you have at least twice that everything is being weighed.
Yeah.
So when it is starting the trip, and then when it is arriving, so you will have at least two, and then you'll have something on Amazon warehouse. Again, I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with all the process because we never did. We never needed to know the process. But I guess maybe this is something that we need to add. Maybe Gatina can do that as a process. Okay,
So I'll
let's
tell you how
prepare
we help our
all the
sellers.
documents. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll tell you how we help our sellers. So essentially, when we so reconciling FBA shipments is it's optional with Gatina. We can do it for you or not. Depends on what you want us to do. If you want us to do it, usually what happens is once we see a shipment that needs to be reconciled, we start reconciling it. When Amazon is asking for documentation, we're going to reach out to you, the seller, ask for that documentation. When you're going to give it back to us, we're not just going to flow back to Amazon. We're actually going to take a look at it. If it doesn't seem right to us, we're not going to pursue it. We're just not. It's not. It doesn't make sense because they're asking for 3,000 units for you to prove it, and you're giving us documentation for 2,000 units. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. And so we're gonna tell it to you
What
too.
you're saying,
Yeah, you have to have some in between, some professional eyes to make sure you're not just throwing documents around and getting yourself in trouble, for example.
so we need to ask from now on. Everything should be documented.
Always. That is like the ABC of like, carriers and importing, export. Like, once again, if this was an oversight of the sellers, Amazon is signaling no more, no more, guys. We stopped just paying just like that. You got to make sure your ducks in a row. All your documents are there. You're a professional. Whoever you're working with is a professional, whether you're a supplier or carrier. You should be fine. But if you're not, now it's time to pick it up.
Yeah,
I feel like you guys, well, I mean, I don't know how much, I'm pretty sure you both know this about me. Like, I'm really strong about building a really, really good relationship with your freight forwarder. I believe in using a freight forwarder and not using your supplier when we're talking about China specifically.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is an even better, like it just proves how important it is to make sure that you're using a legitimate company where if Amazon comes and says to you, we need the bill of lading or we need proof of delivery or whatever it may be. Like, I personally use Unicargo and have been working with them for a long time. And when Gatina, for example, come and ask me, we need this and this, I have it like that. I send them an email really quickly. They'll send it back to me. Or if I do it on my own, it's very easy for me to then get that information. Whereas many, many times, if you're using, I'm gonna say a Chinese freight forwarder, or if it's through your supplier where God knows how it's actually being sent, many, many times you may not even have access to that documentation. And if you're sending in, thousands of dollars into Amazon, you can kiss that away if this is their new approach to it.
Think about this. When Amazon's asking for documentation, some sellers might be so clueless. And when the Chinese carrier gives you the documentation, it's in Chinese. You give it to Amazon, you're going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Amazon gets it in Chinese. Don't think Amazon knows Chinese. Don't take that for granted. If you're selling an Amazon US, they're probably going to deal with the US team. If you ever sold an Amazon China, which is not available anymore, it makes sense to do it in Chinese. If you're actually selling an Amazon UK, UK is in English, so it's a bad example. But if you're selling an Amazon Deutschland, right, in Germany, Most likely you have to kind of make sure that's in German so they can really understand what's going on. But usually English prevails, I think, across all the platforms. So if you're using a supplier carrier super cheap, you found them on a corner somewhere, and they're giving all the documentation in Chinese, probably not a good practice. Also,
You know
word
what?
of caution there. Yeah.
There is another dimension that we need to consider. Now everybody has like the third party warehouses because of all the problems with the
Yeah.
FBA. So now there are another, it's called local shipments that we are doing. So this is a different and another angle that we need to make sure that everything is going there smoothly, because this is what Amazon will see eventually.
You're right. So if you're basically shipping to a warehouse which is domestically located in the United States, that's a good point. Make sure they're receiving it properly, and actually they can alert to the problem right there. Once again, if you're an overseas supplier, you order 3,000 units, you receive 2,000 units. Your supplier is I don't want to say playing
But
games,
you need to
but
document
something's off.
everything in there as well.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. They can help you. Actually, don't make sure that they can help you with that. They can be very helpful actually. And once they drip it into Amazon, once again, it's all documented. Make sure it's all documented as much as possible. And so pay a little bit more. Whoever can say, yeah, I'll give you full visibility on a dashboard level, documents level. Pay a little more. It's worth it because you don't want to get stuck with the suspension, which is much more expensive than any other. All the pennies that you might pay a bit extra or a few dollars with somebody who's reputable, reliable, always there for you, and you can trust it and you can build on it.
I'm just reading what they're asking for here, and it's kind of similar though to what they ask you in general when you're asking for a reimbursement. This is exactly the documents that I needed to send last year when Amazon lost the stock that I'd sent in for the same product twice in a row. I sent the same product in twice in a row, thousands of units, and they lost the entire shipment, right? Twice in a row. And this is the exact documents that they asked me to send in. And to be honest,
but you had a reputable. You were using Unicargo, reputable. So once you give it to them,
had all the
Amazon was
information.
comfortable with it. So if they're not comfortable, you're probably going to experience this.
And
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, and I do want to add something else. If you don't use this kind of people you can trust, and then you need to approach Amazon again and again, there is another problem heading. They're also deactivating accounts if you are opening too many cases on the same
issue. Even if they denied it, you keep on opening and bothering them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Once again, not a good practice. Yeah.
Yeah. It's another. It's another fun that we're enjoying.
Yeah. I want to make a distinction, a very technical distinction within Amazon that might actually create a situation that over time this might get aligned. Okay, let me explain what I mean. So when you try to reconcile your shipments, you're dealing with the FBA, team, right? The FBA team, and when they approve it, it's all good. And that's what happened to all. It seems like that's what happened to all these sellers. They got approved for the reimbursement. They provided that documentation. Everything was good to go. So one team approved you. So one hand actually petted you and was nice to you, but then the other hand, which is seller performance, once they got to that team, they were not comfortable with what they're seeing, and or the algorithm at least was not comfortable, and that triggered a suspension, a deactivation. So now you have to kind of bridge between two. So one team telling you, yeah, you're okay, but the other team is saying, it doesn't seem like you're okay. They don't say suspension, by the way. They say deactivated. So basically, we want to stop everything because our team here, Self Performance, wants to go back 365 days for a certain type of products that you kind of reconciled with us and we paid you. Prove yourself. That's what's going on. So two teams kind of contradicting each other. It's kind of counterproductive. One says you're good. The other says, hold on for a minute. So going forward into the future, I would expect Amazon to basically equip the FBA team with more tools or more ability to say, you know what, we're not comfortable with your information. Provide more information before we approve your claim. If that's going to happen, they're going to have no issues. That's the healthiest filter. So it doesn't have to go to Self Performance and get to a point of deactivation. Meaning, if the Self Performance team is going to basically start equipping the FBA team with the ability to determine if the documents looks fishy or not, then they can do it on that level. So they could just reject the claim, not even pay it. So if they never paid it to you, they don't have a problem with you, right? And if they ever did pay it to you, and they're actually comfortable with their setup, it should be fine. It's going to be much smoother going forward. So this is a technical distinction that I can kind of identify here between two teams in Amazon. That one is contradicting the other, but I would assume that over time it's going to get aligned. It has to, because it doesn't make sense. Amazon can't continue contradicting itself, saying, hey, yeah, you got approved. Here's your reimbursement. Here's our money. And then all of a sudden, a few weeks or a few months later, this other team says, hold on, deactivate. Let's check what's going on. it's counterproductive. It's not sustainable. It's not scalable. So I would assume that going forward into the future, they're going to tweak the elements. It's going to get aligned. But it can be just my opinion.
And I would add that at this point, when you are starting to have a problem, don't act too fast. You can approach many companies. You can approach us or all others. We are not charging. If you just need to, to ask something, how do I approach it? It's not a problem. We can help everybody. You can, I guess, you can help as well. So just seek for the information before you're just sending information that down the road you will have problem with it.
Got it. Tamor, yeah, you want to address Tamor's?
I just wanted to say that Tamor said my client lost $2,560 worth of inventory during shipment, but it was Alibaba freight forwarder service provider. Which, I can tell you that, you guys obviously, Yoni, this is like what you guys do, but I can tell you as someone who, last year specifically, it just happened twice in a row. It was like 2 months in between, or maybe 1 month in between. I can't remember now, but so 1 month you guys took care of it for me, and 1 month I took care of it on my own. And I think that it's really, really crucial, which, by the way, Amazon paid us they paid us back what we have sold the product, because it's a product that's been selling for years, what we sell the product for minus the FBA fees. So we actually made profits on that entire the without PPC, without anything. Like, we made more than what we would have made had we have to sell it. So although it sucked because we lost a lot of ranking, we're out of stock for a long time, and it was a shitty situation, at least we did get reimbursed. And the reason we were also able to get reimbursed quite quickly was because we had that information, because we were using a reputable company like Unicargo, and they gave us the information like that. So I think it's very, very crucial today to make sure that, like you said, you have everything in place, and you're working with reputable companies, and not trying to cheapen out on working, for example, with the Chinese freight forwarder. And this is nothing against like the Chinese specifically. It's just well known that when you're working with a super, super cheap, like if it's too good to be true pricing wise, especially with how much shipping has gone up in the last year, and especially also now, right? If it's too good to be true, it usually is. Right?
It might be a trap later or some catch later where it's going to say, it wasn't worth it,
So you may have saved $2 per kilo and then ended up, losing your entire stock in the future. And this is why I always say that, I don't judge shipping companies by when everything is all good. I judge shipping companies when shit hits the fan or things happen, and how quickly they're able to help me. And this is, I obviously love Unicargo, but I would say this about any company that's really good.
Valid point.
But this is why I always say, just because I've had so many people come and say to me, but I've never had an issue. And I'm like, the day you have an issue will be the test of whether the company you're working with is good enough or not, because time matters with this kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So did you have anything to say about Tamor's comment? Anyone here?
So yeah, I guess the question for you guys, Alibaba freight forward, is that you consider that reputable or not? I guess maybe that's what he's kind of trying to allude here, or maybe that he's asking a question in between the comment. So he's saying the 2560 was lost, and Alibaba was the freight forwarder. So is it reputable or not? It's open for discussion.
I've never used a freight forwarder service provider from Alibaba. I've used Unicargo for the last 4.5 years, and before Unicargo, I used a non-Alibaba freight forwarder, which I won't even mention their name because they're so terrible. So I don't know. Do you know anyone here? Know if it's
I'll be honest, I don't know, but I guess what you can do, Tamor, now is your opportunity to actually go to Alibaba, the freight forwarders that are there, and ask for all the questions you can ask, and ask for all the proof before you get into any trouble. Can you show me everything from the whole chain of command, all the weights, everything, and then you can be the judge of it. If it makes sense to you and it's all in English, it's probably going to make sense to Amazon. Because if it doesn't make sense to you and much of it's not in English, or there's no documentation at all, it might be a red flag saying, you know what, I should maybe kind of reconsider who I'm using.
And you know what, I'll add something else, which is always good. Have it signed. You need to
Oh,
have a signature. You need to have a letterhead paper. It's not going to be if it looks like something your I don't know your kid was doing on your computer. It's not good thing.
yeah. I want to add to that. Actually, it's a super strong point. So, when Amazon's asking you, this is kind of a recommendation or a tip for everybody out there listening. This applies for this issue, but any other issue where you're giving Amazon data or documentation. So, if you're trying to mask, like anonymize things, and you're doing it digitally, it might backfire because it's saying, oh, if you go digitally and you mask the name or the address here or the name or the pricing or whatever it is, you can also manipulate the quantity or the price. So I would recommend to say the best practice is print it on a piece of paper, take a pen and explain what you're trying to do. And if you want to mask something out, just blur it with a pen or a marker. So it's printed. It's much more reliable. So you don't look as savvy because if you go into a document, you can manipulate it. You can make it look like Mickey Mouse in a whole Disney movie if you wanted to because you're so smart with digital manipulation. So if you just keep it old school, print it and put it on the paper, just a small tip on the side. But go ahead, Nir, you're saying.
You know what I'm doing? I'm always telling my clients, they don't really care. What's your price? Just send it as it is.
I agree. Yeah, if you can send that as it is and just put an arrow, this is the ASIN and this is the quantity with the pen, but it's printed, no problem. They really don't care who your supplier is. They don't really care your pricing.
They will
They're
not
just in
approach
business.
them.
Yeah, they're always gonna make money when you sell something on Amazon. So don't forget, they don't necessarily need your product. So don't be over paranoid. Just keep the flow going. Print it, mark it. Do not manipulate the document, even if they allow it. You might get it going a few times, but the moment they don't like it, it's gonna backfire. So I guess small tip on this little matter. Yeah.
And you know what? If you're starting with tips, when people try to manipulate system, I'm now talking about in general, they always know. They can see the documents. You don't know how to do it, so they will not reveal. So just don't play with that.
Yeah, same mantra. The shortest way is the honest way.
Yeah.
If you're playing games and it worked twice or 3 times, 4 times, but then you grow and you keep playing, and then
you are one. They have hundreds of thousands of people like you.
Of sellers.
So remember,
yeah.
We want to say hello to Robbie. I know that Robbie has now joined Gatina as well, Robbie Stanley.
Yeah.
So congratulations to Robbie for joining Gatina, and congratulations, Yoni, for having Robbie on your team.
Thank you. We're very excited.
I sent SMS to Yoni when I saw that, and I said, "You're taking all the good guys."
I got it. We're very, very excited and proud, and we're humbled that they were able to get such a talent like Rob Stanley.
We're coming up to wrapping it up. Nir, I know that you had a quick subject that you did want us to talk about. So I'm gonna just give you the opportunity.
So you're referring all the things that happens now.
Well, I mean, you're talking. We didn't really get into it because it was a hectic day. It's been a tough time here, so we didn't really get into it. But I'm going to be honest and say I didn't read the message you sent me, but I know that you have something you want to talk about. So tell us what it is now live, and we'll just all know what it is.
Okay, so there is a involving process thing these days. In the last few days, I think from May 9th, Amazon has removed the biggest seller again from China. Sorry, it's not about China. And the reason behind that was
it is, but it's okay. Keep going.
Yeah, I'm not pointing any fingers.
It happens to be Chinese-based companies.
This specific subject is to do with Chinese-based sellers. Sorry, continue.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not trying to fight with anyone.
No, keep
we have enough in here.
I get it. Hold on. For the sake of anyone listening to us from the Chinese government, we are not against China. It's just we're just talking facts, right? And the facts are that multiple huge Chinese sellers and Chinese companies were taken down from Amazon.
Who sell in the hundreds of millions, just to give an understanding of the scope of these organizations.
Over 1 billion.
Over 1 billion. Sorry, that's even more dramatic.
Wait, 1 billion what?
Dollar
companies?
Revenue. Yeah.
Okay.
That's crazy. I checked it from 3 different places sources. Just to make sure. Yeah, so because I wasn't. If you remember the first time we talked, I said I'm not going to say anything about numbers.
Yeah.
But I saw some kind of a report which was from the US, and then I said, okay, this is a number I can mention. But anyway, it's the biggest brand on electronics, but not just on electronics, and nobody really knows what was the reason for them for being removed originally. Now everything is starting to be revealed. So the first thing was product reviews. And the second thing, which is very interesting, and this is what I want to speak about a little, is the leaflet, all the small
Insert.
papers, all the
Inserts, yeah.
inserts, that we are putting inside the box and thinking nobody sees that. Well, apparently Amazon sees that, and now they are starting to,
Crack down on it.
yeah, exactly. So I'm trying. There is no real reason. So not real reason. There is no real thing that we know, but we are sure now for 100% that this was part of the reasons for that. So because they did mention that Amazon, and I'm trying to look within my papers while I'm speaking.
While you read your papers, I want to quickly ask a question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't believe. This is my theory as a seller. Okay, I don't believe that Amazon sits there and checks our inserts. I believe that if anything, it's our competitors complaining about us, right? And then Amazon gets triggered. Are you saying that Amazon actually is checking our inserts, or do you believe that it is our competitors who are buying our products? I'm not me, because my inserts are fine, but buying people's products and complaining about them?
Yeah, I just want to help you with this, Sharon, if I may. So let's not forget, in the United States, Amazon has more than 1 million employees. So these employees might shop on Amazon. Boom, guess what? They're getting your inserts. So Amazon is not a company with 10 people. It is yeah. So they have their own consumer base internally. That's one thing to consider. Second thing is, if the consumers are getting it and they're confused with the insert and they're calling Amazon's customer service, so I get this insert, this is what it's saying, and the customer service representative is alerted, that raises red flags like, you mind taking a picture and sending it to us and email it, and you do. And over the time, they see it's something that's repetitive, and then they can really chase where it's from. Then they can act upon it. Everything's very visible in this marketplace, very data driven. You can't really hide anything, especially if you're doing it on a massive, massive scale, like $1 billion company. Just a matter of time. And I also believe that that big company got hit, but over 75,000 companies got hit. Am I wrong or no?
Yeah,
that's a big number.
Over 75,000 sellers got hit because
deactivated. Yeah, they were involved with this chain. Yeah.
I don't remember the exact number. I can look; it's in here. But I would say when you're working at this scale, you need to have an app. It's not you're speaking with your designer to have your insert. So there are companies that are dealing with this kind of I would say manipulation, but this is not because I think so. Amazon thinks that it's a manipulation. Right. So there are the apps that deals with, and let's speak just about the Chinese because I was reading tons of information in Chinese. I'm not reading Chinese. I was just translating it, just to have like the regional information, what they are talking about within. So they are speaking about this kind of an app that deals with inserts, and also about the thing let's say that the app that allows them. It's not really an app. It's a company that helps them with reviews. Okay, so and we always say they are so smart and they're doing it. They're winning the competition. They are very, very advanced. You can say that you like it or not, but they are ahead of the competition most of the time, always inventing something new to hijack or to do something. So I'm just mentioning that. So there is. We don't know. We know when Amazon are changing something that they can know about. They know so many things on the end customer, like on the buyer. They can see if where you are in the page. We can discuss it in a different show, but in here we don't know what happened. Nobody knows. So there is an assumption. I don't know if it's true or not, but maybe Amazon ordered a hack to this kind of services, and now they have all the information. So now they're working with open books, and they can target everyone.
Yeah, you're right. I think what I understand from what happened is that there was some of the data breach with that network, because it would all these 75,000 sellers. They were part of a big network that was really highly organized in doing it. Happens to be the Chinese based, and there was a leak somewhere somehow when Amazon was able to get all that data and strike him out in one shot.
It's
So it is kind of dramatic.
somebody...
It's almost like good enough to be in the news, like national news, these kind of things. But
So
that's
Danny
what I
had
understood.
Danny had a show like 2 days ago on this subject that we're now talking about. He had Brandon Young and can't remember the two other guys' names that were on. I'm sorry. And they spoke about this. They were speaking about the data breach, etc. From my understanding of watching that show, they had believed that the reason for the deactivations had to do with with manipulation, not with search find buy, sorry, with manipulation of you watched it too, Neil, of manipulating ranking and then reviews, etc. So what you're saying, Neil, is that we think that a part of that is reviews from what has the insert cards got to do with this is what I'm trying to understand.
It's just a different service. So we know for sure it's the review manipulation, and we know for sure it's the insert manipulation.
I guess the
insert manipulation, meaning that you've got an insert, and on your insert you're asking for reviews, and if you're unhappy,
not just.
For example,
even if you're sorry. If you're, I'll take it. Even if you're asking your customer to go outside of Amazon, it's a manipulation in the eye of Amazon. This is how they.
Okay, I want to just say my point on this. Okay, because I spent a good amount of time reading Amazon's terms of service about trying to get information about insert cards and what we can put and what we can't put. Now, I'm not a lawyer and I'm not some genius, but I'm pretty good at reading, and I could not find black and white information on what you can put on an insert and what you can't, because you have to have your website on your packaging. Okay, it's part of, you actually have to have your website on your packaging. So you're allowed to have your website on your packaging, and from my memory, you're also allowed, okay, it's within terms of service, to have your social media on your packaging. So what is, in your experience then, the line that you cross that you can't have on the insert card? Because I really looked into this. I read a lot of information from Amazon, not from other people. I don't care what anyone else says. I care about what Amazon says. And I couldn't find, apart from obviously you can't ask for a positive or a negative, like whatever, you have to be neutral about the reviews, and you can't ask them to contact you if they're unhappy. What is then the issue? Because from what I understand, you're allowed to send them to your own website. Even if you sell on that website, it doesn't say that if you don't. You're allowed to send them to your own website, and you're allowed to have your social media. So what is then the issue with the insert cards?
It's just playing with risk. This is and we were speaking about it between us. So I know that you know exactly about the TOS, exactly about what is allowed or not. So it's about, sometimes you're doing something and it works, and then you say, okay, I'm going to play in a higher level, and it still works. And then you're playing in a higher level, and now Amazon can find you. So this is it. It's just
so we're talking about, for example, not having a coupon code for your website or any sales promotion, because I know that this you're not allowed in your insert.
Yeah, maybe you just said make sure your next visit our website for your next purchase. Simple as that. These 3 words can get you into a lot of trouble.
You can't have that, but you can have somebody asked here, what about a QR code? And I think the issue with this question is that it's very gray, and I'll explain why. Because if your QR code, if you put a QR code and it takes them to your website, that it's just like putting your website. I don't think there should be an issue. I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not taking responsibility for this. This is my opinion.
Right.
And if you put a QR code to an ebook information on the product, I don't think that that's an issue. But if you're putting a QR code to reviews, to a landing page of sales or anything like that, in my opinion, then that's the issue. So the question is, where is your QR code leading? Would that
Yeah,
be correct?
so make it
And if
more
you are
simple.
taking the email also, this is kind of because
You
Amazon
say,
are treat
register, put your email. Yeah,
yeah
grab their
yeah
email or something.
it's
Yeah,
because
just
Amazon are
mhm.
for Amazon. Sorry, Yoni, I will
No worries.
just just take this one. For Amazon, the way they see it, it's their customers, not yours. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I connect into that. So don't try to chip away business from Amazon. Period. By intention or unintentionally, don't try to chip away business or shop with us. Your next purchase come with us or whatever. That's one thing. Second thing is don't try to get an unfair advantage in the Amazon marketplaces. So you're doing all this funneling, so you get a boost yourself in reviews, and then manipulate the algorithm. Boom, and you get unfair advantages. They always want to level the playing field. So I guess that's kind of the high level mentality that's with this case.
So
I'd like to answer the question here on
yeah.
ManyChat.
Which
So
we'll just say for the people listening to the podcast that the question is the person that asked about the QR code is then asking ManyChat QR code. So he's referring to putting a QR code that then leads you to ManyChat.
So now we will have two problems. One will be Amazon, and the second one will be Facebook. So you need to understand the TOS of Facebook really good. ManyChat, I love ManyChat. We've been among the first to play with or play with these services and to enjoy it. It's amazing, but you need to really understand all Facebook rules. So this is one thing, and I would. There are so many advanced ways to use insert. Just for the example, if you have an insert and you have like a let's say some kind of covered thing that you need to have a coin just to remove it, and then you're saying you want
scratch card,
scratch card, and nobody can see it from Amazon side that this is what you think. And when somebody is winning, then he needs to go to a different website just to get the gift or whatever. Still not allowed. So
yeah, I'll just give a recommendation. Maybe you guys know this already, or maybe it's already out there, but this is kind of the common practice. But of course, when you have your website, I think you should be able to say, register your product here on our website, so you can activate a warranty, a year, 1 year warranty, 5 year, whatever it is. So it's more valuable for the Amazon consumer. If you're trying to enhance Amazon's value in the experience, you're fine. So they come into your website, they register themselves, okay? So they get a warranty. That's the main purpose. It happens to be, okay, now you have the information, you can develop a relationship with them. That's okay, because it's all, an ecosystem. You can still encourage them to shop on Amazon, but they trust your brand. They're going to go to your brand, even if it's with Amazon. It's okay. Amazon's not your enemy. It can be a very, very good friend in building your brand, getting brand loyalty, and they keep shopping from your brand on Amazon, and it's fine. It's a viable, sustainable business now that you have the aggregators buying your business, and you can make a beautiful exit. Before, people were really trying to get them out to the website because they don't know if Amazon is really a real business. So a little alignment there is made, I think.
I think that you just said something. So I obviously wasn't running the show 2 days ago, but today it's my show. So I'm running the show today. 2 days ago, Danny had his own panel, and, I was cringing about some stuff that was being said, which I really disagreed with, which there's no one way to do Amazon. There are many, many different opinions on the way that TOS can or whatever. Everyone has their own opinion. But I think one of the main things that you just said there that, I always have the end game in mind. And the end game is, in the end, for many people, and not for everyone, but for many people, is to one day sell. And the thing you need to ask yourself is, when you are going to, and forgot his name from Thrasio was also said this, and I've always said this to people, that the day you try and sell, you will need to sign a document that will say anything that you have done that is against terms of service. Right?
You need to reveal.
And you have to reveal it that can get you in trouble.
Might break the deal. Yeah, might break the deal. You might not be able to make an exit if you're playing games with the system. So
100%.
Try to always enhance.
If you did it, by the way, and that's even if you did it, like 2 years ago. I can say that a lot of people, and I will say that I was one of these people. Actually, I won't say that. I'll say I was one of the people that had sent other people back in the day to do this, and I no longer recommend doing this. And it is extremely against terms of service, and I regret that I'd ever said to possibly do this. back in the day, people would get ungated through using something like Funnel Guru, for example. And basically, without spending too much time on it, I know that what they do is they manipulate invoices. And I can tell you that there was an aggregator that was trying well, there was a deal that was at the end of the day broken because the person had to reveal that they had used a company like Funnel Guru to get ungated, because Amazon will then come back and look at that as you've used fake invoices with us. And I spoke to Yael Kabili, who's a good friend of everyone's here, about it. And she said to me that she's had huge clients, like really, really big 8-9-figure sellers taken down because of these sorts of things. So anything you do in general, do it by the book. It's not worth it. There's no point of you getting yourself ranked or
there is a rule
or whatever to then build yourself to a 7-figure business to then be taken down in one freaking day. And it happens overnight. You one day wake up, especially if all your eggs are in one basket, which is Amazon's basket, and you've never diversified yourself outside of Amazon or through other brands that you have in other accounts. It's an issue. I can see you're waiting to say something there. What are you waiting to say?
No, so sorry, I'm
no, go for it.
Glass for you. There is a simple rule. If you think that Amazon will not find you, you're wrong. They will find you today, tomorrow, in a year. But they will find you. They are smart, and this is their game, as I said. So
they'll find out about
play
any
the
issue.
game, but within the game, limits.
Yeah, just be honest, stay transparent. If you do something, do it right. If you made a mistake, acknowledge it. If it's an honest mistake, it's okay to make mistakes. You make a mistake, but avoid it. Don't touch it. Be transparent about it. Say, I didn't know it was a mistake. It was an oversight. It's okay. You'll grow from it. Something you like yourself, Sharon. You grew out of that position, and you're refining your ability and your performance, and that's sustainable. That's good, and that's recognized. So it should be okay.
Sarah said, "Why do you have to have your website on your packaging?" So in my experience, first of all, I sell, one of the niches that I sell in is in beauty. And in beauty specifically, in like the law of the US, you have to have your website on your packaging. So Amazon cannot tell you not to have your website on your packaging because it's part of the law. I think it's the same for supplements. Yoni, your experience as a seller in the past is through supplements. I'm pretty sure it's the same.
Yeah, I mean, I think most products, if not all products, at least in the United States, you have to have a website. That's because websites became like your business card. You can come in, you can contact, you can see what's going on, you can learn more, and the government is trying to push up the companies and manufacturers to have visibility of who they are. Imagine you get a product, there's no information who sold it to. It's very not good. It's very vague and it's not trustworthy. So the government wants to make sure there's a website they can reach out, and there's minimum standards, because we all live in the digital age. So 20 years ago it did not apply. Now it's a law. So that's already on the government level, which Amazon has to comply. So.
And if you're speaking with catalog team, they will ask you to show the product on your website. So it's very simple.
All right, I think we should wrap it up. My house is shaking, so I think, Nir, we're going to have an interesting night. Thank you for coming. Yoni, if anyone wants to get in contact with you, how can they find you?
I'm pretty active on Facebook and LinkedIn. So Yoni Mazor, you can look for my name. You can reach out directly. But of course, you can visit Gatina.com, which is getida.com. We have a friendly chat, with the friendly team. They should be able to help you. But if you need me specifically, tell them I need Yoni, and they'll make sure to reach out to me. But here to help anybody that needs help.
Nir, if anyone needs you, how can they find you?
So they can contact us on our website. It's market-wise.com or Facebook.
With a Z? W-I-Z-E, yep.
Yeah, and a dash in between. And also Facebook, Nir Raveh. And they can even speak with you, and you can always find me if somebody needs help.
Awesome. Thank you very much, guys, for coming on. Nir, thank you also for coming on as well. I know that it's tough here. And Yoni, thank you. I hope to bring you back on, Yoni, and to talk a little bit more about Gatina and your story in the future as well. If anyone wants to get in touch with me, they can find my YouTube channel, Sharon Evan, or my Facebook, Sharon Evan. And Isabella will be back on Monday, and Danny will be back on Tuesday, and I will see everyone next Thursday. Thank you, guys.